Everything you know, your home, your friends, your family, are all irrevocably changed because of bureaucratic mismanagement. The Chernobyl disaster, which occurred on April 26, 1986, stands as an unparalleled testament to the catastrophic consequences of human error and inadequate safety measures. Britannica's record of 50 to 185 million curies of radionucleotides released into the atmosphere surpasses the radioactivity generated by the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. The Chernobyl disaster serves as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of human errors and inadequate safety measures. Today, we will delve into the causes, consequences, and key takeaways from this horrific tragedy. The intricacies of this disaster unveil a narrative of mismanagement, operator errors, and a deficiency of transparency protocols. The individuals operating the reactor lacked the necessary training and experience, rendering them ill-equipped to handle the complexities inherent in managing a nuclear reactor. The World Nuclear Association states, the RBMK reactor design was poor from the point of view of safety and unforgiving for the operators, both of which proved a dangerous operating state. The operators were not informed of this and were not aware that the test performed could have brought the reactor into an explosive condition. In addition, they did not comply with operational procedures. Flaws in the reactor's design made it prone to instability. The RBMK reactor used at Chernobyl had inherent design flaws, particularly related to its control rods and cooling system. These flaws made it susceptible to a dangerous phenomenon known as the positive void coefficient, which could have led to a runaway increase in reactor power. A lack of proper containment structure to prevent radioactive releases, unlike modern nuclear reactors, the RBMK reactor lacked a robust containment structure. This omission proved disastrous when the reactor exploded, resulting in a massive amount of radioactive materials released into the environment. These factors created the perfect storm of conditions that led to the Chernobyl disaster. Now, let's explore the devastating consequences of the event. The explosion and subsequent fire in the reactor building released large amounts of radioactive materials into the atmosphere. Immediate deaths and injuries spread among the plant workers and firefighters. Several who responded to the initial fire suffered immediate radiation exposure, leading to acute radiation sickness and often death. From the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, on the day of the accident, there were 600 workers on site. 134 suffered acute radiation sickness. 28 of whom died in the first 3 months. For those who survived the radiation sickness, recovery took several years. Among the 600 workers on site, increased incidences of leukemia and cataracts were recorded for those exposed to higher doses of radiation. The fallout from the explosion resulted in the contamination of nearby towns and even countries, such as Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. This contamination had long-term environmental and health impacts. Now, if you will please look at the visual aid, you can see the true extent of the fallout over Europe. Now remember, this is one single explosion from one single nuclear plant. And, as you can see, keep in mind that this is only over the course of a few months as radiation spread to the neighboring Soviet bloc countries. And if the camera will please take a look at that, you can see that the spread of radiation quickly permeated through the Soviet bloc countries. Time magazine tells us that in Ukraine, the first 5 years after the disaster, cases of cancer among children increased by more than 90%. During the first 20 years after the accident, approximately 5,000 cases of thyroid cancer were registered in Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus among those who were younger than 18 at the time of the explosion. The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 5,000 cancer deaths were related directly to the Chernobyl accident. It is worth noting, however, that some estimates place this number closer to 19,000. The Chernobyl disaster's consequences were devastating, but also yielded crucial lessons for the global nuclear community. Let's explore these lessons and how we can avoid similar disasters in the future. The initial response to the disaster was marred by secrecy, leading to a further escalation of the crisis. However, the world's response was not one of despair, but of resolve. The formation of the World Association of Nuclear Operators and the emphasis on safety by countries across the globe demonstrated a commitment to learning from this tragedy. The importance of open communication and the prioritization of rigorous training for all personnel within the nuclear industry became apparent. As the World Nuclear Association outlines, Nuclear engineers from those Soviet countries have learned from on-site visits to nuclear power plants in the Western world. Also, the World Association of Nuclear Operators, formed in 1989, connected nuclear power plant operators in more than 30 countries, while the IAEA reviews safety at still operative Soviet reactors. Because of this openness and cooperation, the remaining RBMK reactors no longer have the deficiencies that doomed Chernobyl. The Chernobyl disaster prompted a reevaluation of reactor designs, leading to the development of safer and more stable nuclear reactors. Newer designs incorporate passive safety features to prevent catastrophic accidents. From the Government Accountability Office, nearly 25 years after Chernobyl, an accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in Japan prompted another global reckoning among nuclear safety regulators, who thought about what more could be done to improve nuclear safety, such as requiring backup electric generators in case of a site lost power, similar to the Fukushima plant, and planning for previously unimagined natural accident scenarios. Now today, we've examined the causes, the consequences, and the key takeaways from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. This disaster was primarily caused by the failures of the individuals managing the reactor, operator errors, and a key lack of transparency from the Soviet government. In closing, by applying the lessons learned from Chernobyl, we can strive to prevent such disasters in the future. The world's response to Chernobyl gives us hope for the future of nuclear safety in a world which will increasingly depend